On most Friday nights and Saturday mornings during the warmer months of the year, crowds gather downtown to shop in the open air of Hannafel Market in Cameron Park. Linda Vale, the market manager at Cameron Park Farmers Market, talks with us and shares her experience navigating the new normal of public gatherings during COVID times, and shares the value of fresh food and its accessibility in La Crosse. I'm Amy, and he's Brent, and this is La Crosse Local.
What is the origin story for the Cameron Parks Farmers Market? When did it start?
It started over 2 decades ago. La Crosse has kind of always had a farmers market, but the locations have changed and moved over the years. That area of Cameron Park is also an old-timey marketplace as well. So kind of bringing it back to the roots of that marketplace. Then the canopy was put in as a big community effort with the city so that it could be an established marketplace with power, water, and shelter for the vendors, so that rain or shine, people are able to come down and not only bring their goods to market, but so consumers can come on a weekly basis and support farmers.
What can people expect when visiting the market? Is there any special changes to Friday night markets?
Absolutely. There's 2 things that I'd like to touch on. And the first is just what our market, as the farmers market in its own little bubble, how we're staying safe. But then I'd also like to chime in on the fact that we host our market in a public place. How we're staying safe at Cameron Park. We've been so fortunate to receive a grant from the La Crosse Community Foundation for our Access and Safety program. The access portion of the program is just because of COVID and the safer at home orders and things like this, people maybe avoid directly shopping the market. So we've opened up a pre-order online shopping where folks can online shop for their market goods and then swoop by and pick them up curbside at the market each weekend. So this not only helps our vendor sales because of the reduced attendance, but then it also is supporting those folks that don't feel comfortable or maybe just should not be out in public during this health crisis. They're able to safely shop online from their homes and then be able to come down to the market or send a friend or a family member to come down and do their pickup for them. So it's also keeping part of our high risk community members safe that way. The second part of the program is the safety feature. Now this grant was made possible, like I said, by the La Crosse Community Foundation. And what it really entails is allowing us to purchase every single thing that we need in order to keep our customers, vendors, and staff safe at the market. So some of those things would be hand washing stations. We have 4 hand washing stations just in our little parks. We also have lots of informational signage. When we're trying to reduce contact with people chatting so much, because we know that that's how a big way that the virus is exchanged. So we want to have a lot of visual aids in the park to relay all of these important safe shopping tips that we have for folks. It also is just going towards staffing hours because our market also has been hit by the fact that our vendor roster has decreased, but we're still having to, pay our rent and pay our bills and things like that. So we're just another example of a small business that is, not struggling, but we're just trying to get through this all. And the last thing I'll add is we have tons of awesome volunteers this year. So we also have people who are just reminding people to keep their distance or walk one way, or that we have hand washing stations. They're helping us run the pre-order system. They're helping us welcome and keep counts and attendance on customers. So we also have a wonderful volunteer workforce that's helping us really keep these standards high to keep people safe.
So it sounds like you're making every effort to connect the public with the farmers, which I feel like is a very important endeavor. Can you kind of express how the vendors and farmers benefit from the market, especially in times like this?
Yeah, exactly. The food supply chain has been shaken. I mean, some farmers, they sell wholesale to the bigger grocery stores. What we've seen in the grocery stores, there are bare shelves. Just another place for them to be able to bring their products. And it's a different environment for people to be able to access those foods as well. I think that the market also represents how people can immediately support their local economy. Farmers are going to get about 30 cents on the dollar if you buy things from the grocery store, because every single stop along the way, somebody's taking a cut. But with the farmers market, these products are literally coming from the farm in one vehicle to the market. And so they're getting more like 80 cents on the dollar. And then also keeping that contamination line reduced because there's not so many hands involved. Because these farms are local, these are our friends and neighbors. So that 80 cents on the dollar, 75% of that goes straight back into your local economy. Those are our friends and neighbors going right back and getting the curbside pickup from the restaurants here in town, where they're donating to local nonprofits that are trying to help people through COVID. Your dollar at a farmer's market does so much more profound good work for your community than just going to a major grocery store in the area.
Where do you see markets headed in the future?
Oh man, it's so hard to tell at this point. I think when it comes to any decisions that I and my board have made thus far is all coming from this wonderful kind of crowdsourcing community that's come together with all the farmers market managers across the country. For instance, the Farmers Market Coalition, they have hosted several webinars. So we're coming together to do everything creative that we can to increase the access to the food for the customers. COVID times, we have no idea when this is going to end. And so I think our pre-order will probably carry on. And I think possibly we would go back to just the market eventually, but as long as our community needs us to have that additional access point, then we're going to try to provide that.
If someone wants to volunteer their time to help with the market, how do they go about it, and what sorts of work would you have for them?
We have kind of about 4 different areas where we need help with. The first area is welcoming customers, but then also taking counts. And then in that welcome, we address some of our safe shopping tips. Another section are our social distancing supporters. Then we also have our pre-order section. So people are, coming up to get their curbside pickup. So we have some volunteers helping distribute those boxes to cars. And then the last one is setup and cleanup. We have a wonderful workforce before and at the end of the market. Many hands make light work. Where they can do it is they can email the Cameron Park email is lacrossefarmersmarkets@gmail.com, and markets and farmers are plural on that. Or they can visit our website, cameronparkmarket.org. That has our COVID stuff, all of our vendors, and any board information and several other resources.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you would like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Locals. Subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We thank you for it.